Hello, beautiful beings. Thank you so much for dropping by this video. To anyone who's new to this channel is dedicated to helping people overcome spiritual bypass, the misuse of spiritual philosophy and practice to actually avoid problems and run away from life. Specifically, I've been focused on Neo-Advaita or non-duality, more like fake non-duality. And now I'm starting to generalize a little bit towards the phenomenon of spiritual bypass as a whole. But I just had a profound awakening shift this morning. So in my last couple of videos, I've shared how helpful Theravada Buddhism, early Buddhism, has been in helping me recover from Neo-Advaita and spiritual bypass. And the truth is, I was actually doing spiritual bypass. Hi to my live viewer. Unfortunately, YouTube isn't, for some reason, chat isn't allowed right now, but thank you for dropping by. I wish I could hear from you live, and YouTube's not allowing it right now. So I was already doing spiritual bypass before I found Neo-Advaita. I was doing a lot of mantras. I was doing all sorts of practices to try not to feel and to try to not have to deal with life. And then I found Neo-Advaita. I didn't consciously realize it, but now in hindsight, I realize, wow, Neo-Advaita is like just such an efficient form of spiritual bypass. I just went full on into it. In fact, I think it's maybe the most profound, certainly the most sneaky form of spiritual bypass, or a sneaky form of spiritual bypass. So, I've been in this journey of recovering from that. And I just had such a huge wake-up call this morning. And it's coming through studying early Buddhism. And so in early Buddhism, Theravada Buddhism, before you get into the Noble Truth, the Four Noble Truths, and before you get into renunciation, the Buddha taught something called right view, and specifically mundane right view. Before you get into the sort of deep philosophical Buddhism, you get into what is called the mundane right view, which is just about karma and reincarnation and the universe, the fact that this world is real. Basic, you could say, ethical and a metaphysical view of the universe before you get into the deep philosophy stuff. So one of the main points of this mundane right view, and by the way, there's a link below this video, that an article that goes over all of this, is that actions have results. I.e., and the first view of it is that generosity has merit, and the wrong view is that generosity has no merit. And then a couple views down is that actions have results. The wrong view being actions don't have results. And so I've been studying this thing for a couple of months, or just looking at it. And recently I've really been diving into it. And what I understand is what I woke up to this morning is I've been ignoring the law of karma. Through Neo-Advaita and through spiritual bypass, I was just like, well, if I just pray or meditate or just inquire, then I don't have to worry about how I live my life, which is nonsense on so many levels. Once again, to my new live viewer, sorry, chat is disabled today. I didn't do it. YouTube is, it says chat is unavailable. I'd love to hear from people who are live. So, in my recovery from Neo-Advaita and spiritual bypass, I knew for the longest time that how I live matters. And that relearning how to live well was an essential part of my recovery process. But now that I'm diving into Theravada Buddhism, again, early Buddhism, it's the absolute foundation for the Buddhist path. And of course, what I learned from studying with traditional Advaita teachers is it's the absolute foundation for traditional non-duality. As I've said many times, one Swamini, which means female Swami or priest or teacher, she said, Dharma, living ethically, living harmoniously, and bhakti, having a devotional relationship with the divine or the supreme, are absolute prerequisites for the non-dual path. We don't hear that in Neo-Advaita. What I love about Theravada Buddhism is it's very systematic and logical. And so this article, it lists the 10 types of wrong views that lead to unethical behavior, that lead to bad karma, that lead to painful rebirth. And a couple of them really just contradict Neo-Advaita. One of the wrong views is this world doesn't exist. Most Neo-Advaita teachers, their whole teaching is centered on the idea that this world doesn't exist. According to the Buddha, not only is that a wrong view, but that will lead to negative karma, which leads to painful rebirth. So it's like the Buddha anticipated Neo-Advaita 2,600 years ago. So to those who are in the process of recovery from spiritual bypass or Neo-Advaita, my invitation to you, which is also my invitation to me, is to go do positive things, like some volunteer work, or go for a walk to take care of the body. Pet your cat extra, be friendly. Doing positive things matters on the spiritual path. And it, according to the teachings of the Buddha and according to traditional Advaita Vedanta, ethical, good, harmonious behavior lays the foundation for the more advanced spiritual practices, and it's an absolute prerequisite. The Buddha was, Shankara was adamant, but in some ways, when I read the teachings of the Buddha, he was even more adamant that if you want to achieve freedom, you absolutely have to have this foundation. And what I've been talking about, these right views and hence right living, doing positive things. And on the other note is, a big part of spiritual bypass for me was trying to just not live and trying not to do anything, just trying to make life only about having this state of consciousness. The meaning of life was in essence to get high spiritually, I thought. Neo-Advaita taught me, and I believed it. So this process of learning how to do life again, it's not easy. I'm not going to lie. It's not easy. It is rich. It's challenging and rich. It has been for me. And so I've talked a lot. Again, YouTube is disabled comments for now. I don't know why. I'm sorry I can't hear from all of you. But I feel to just sit for a moment. Feel free to sit with me if you'd like. See if there's anything else to say. I think the last thing I'll say is once I quit Neo-Advaita, I still was doing other forms of spiritual bypass. And on some ways, it's like a daily temptation, not a daily temptation, but it's like a temptation that's always there to try and trance out through thinking spiritual thoughts or too much spiritual practice or certain types of spiritual practice. So I just want to put it out there that for me, it's been a process because I went very far down the spiritual bypass rabbit hole. So that's all I have to share for today. Thank you so much to everyone who joined in. Big love and good recovery. Actually, I feel to say a prayer. Infinite limitlessness, goodness, all around us, inside us. All the true servants, helpers of that, particularly the Buddha, Christ, all the true non-dual teachers, Ramana Maharshi, Adi Shankara. Please, for myself, for everyone who comes by this channel, for all those who are caught in Neo-Advaita and spiritual bypass, please, I just ask for blessing and help and grace and support. Please. Help them, help me, help them, help us to turn away from false spiritual teachings, to understand life and the living of life as a spiritual process, as a learning process. And I just ask for just so much grace and mercy and help for all those. My understanding is that spiritual bypass and Neo-Advaita, it's a very sophisticated and tricky form of illusion, delusion, Maya. And so I just ask for grace and mercy and help and healing for all those who are still caught in it, for all those who are trying to recover from it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for dropping by. I wish everyone a blessed, blessed day. Take care.